Jacob saw no one else around, and it seemed like she was at the sports field all by herself. After a moment of hesitation, he jogged over. What are you doing here, Kathy?" "I'm here to watch you run." Kathy tilted her head and smiled. Her raven black hair, covering her shiny forehead, and her long ponytail trailing over her back, gave her a studious look. But today, she was wearing her hair down, and it made her look pretty. A gust of wind swept through Kathy's hair, and Jacob could smell them from a distance. He looked at her slender figure, silky hair, the blush on her round face, and her dimples as she smiled at him. He was smitten. Jacob had always thought Kathy was pretty, and so did all the guys in his class, but she focused on her academics most of the time and her duties as a class president. This kept her away from the popular girl tag, and the status went to Lisa and a few other girls on campus. But Kathy was prettier than the rest of them, and this fact was undeniable. Jacob couldn't help but blush as he looked at her. He found her more attractive than ever tonight. "How did you know I was practicing here?" he asked her. He may have been sweaty while running, but now he was sweating profusely in Kathy's presence. "I am the class president, and I know everything." Still smiling, Kathy looked at Jacob confidently. "You have been practicing here at 9 every night. Am I right? Well, you look dashing when you run." Kathy broke his thoughts. Embarrassed, Jacob lowered his head. "It's an honor to receive a compliment from the beautiful class president," he said. Kathy smiled sweetly and said, "I'm the class president, and it's my duty to encourage you for the sake of our class honor." "So you didn't mean it? It was just an encouragement?" Jacob gave her a disappointed look. No, I meant it. It is also an encouragement. You do look attractive when you run," she added quickly. The moment she said that, she felt she was a bit hasty in showing her feelings. She lowered her head and bit her lip. "Thank you for coming down to see me practice and to encourage me." Jacob dug out his mobile phone from his pocket. "It's now 9:40. The dorms will be locked up if we don't hurry back." "Today is Friday, and they won't close until 12, Kathy reminded him. "Oh, I had completely forgotten." Jacob thought for a moment and said, "But it's still late, and I have finished my practice. How about I walk you back?" "Aren't you hungry?" Kathy asked him abruptly. Jacob stared blankly at her for a moment. "I have instant noodles in my dorm." Seeing the silly expression on Jacob's face, Kathy smiled. "I'll treat you to a late-night snack as a reward for practicing so hard." Okay, sure," Jacob nodded. He had not expected that Kathy would invite him to a late-night snack, or a late-night anything for that matter. The fact that she came to watch him practice at night itself was a big surprise. "Wait a minute," Jacob asked Kathy to stay where she was before dashing across the field and picking up the jacket he had left on the grass. Then he ran back to walk by her side. Standing on the stairs in her elegant short dress as she was silhouetted against the night and the lamplights, she looked even more pretty and alluring. "Let's go," Jacob said to Kathy. Kathy nodded and followed Jacob out of the fenced sports field. As they began to head out of the sports field, they felt a chilly gust of wind. Without thinking, Jacob immediately draped his jacket over Kathy's shoulders and then shielded her from the biting wind with his body. "Wow, are you always this chivalrous?" said Kathy as they reached the campus corridors. "Yes, you wouldn't have noticed it before because I'm always with Sam and my other crazy roommates. There's no way I'm going to be chivalrous to them," Jacob chuckled. "Ha ha ha. Sam and those guys are sometimes indeed outrageous, but I think you are different," Kathy told him as they walked. It was close to midnight, and it was quiet with no one in sight. The dim lights from the scant street lamps and the cold, crisp air, and Kathy's lingering fragrance made it all too romantic for Jacob, and he was lost in her charm. "I'm not so different. In fact, I'm no better than them." Jacob tried to stay honest. "I think you are more earnest with things. At least you have begun practicing days before the race." Kathy couldn't help but speak up for him. Jacob smiled. "I'm a bashful man who's afraid of losing." Kathy remained silent for a while as they slowly walked towards the university gate. Jacob had never imagined that he could take a walk with the most popular girl in the class, alone on the campus on such a quiet night. "What do you want to eat?" Kathy interrupted his thoughts again. Spicy hot pot?" Jacob responded immediately. "Okay," Kathy agreed promptly. It suddenly occurred to Jacob that the guys from campus could also be out eating late tonight. They would have a blast gossiping about him and Kathy if they saw them together. Kathy didn't seem to share his concern when she cheerfully walked to the only spicy hot pot stand near campus. She turned to ask Jacob, "What do you want to eat? Pick whatever you want." Seeing her excited about treating him, Jacob set away his concerns. He picked up some skewers of meat and vegetables and placed them in a basket before handing it to her. They sat at a table in the open air and waited impatiently for the delicious-smelling skewers to be picked up from the pot. "Guys, don't show up now," Jacob prayed silently while they were waiting for their food. "Why do you look so nervous?" Kathy looked at Jacob and questioned him. "No, I'm not." Jacob looked at the pretty girl in front of him. "This is my first time eating a late-night snack with you, the class president. Of course, I'm a little nervous." "Is it your first time eating a late-night snack with a girl?" Gazing at Jacob with her bright eyes, Kathy asked again. "Who told you that? It isn't true at all. When I was in high school, I had a girlfriend," Jacob blurted out. Seeing Jacob's stiff expression, Kathy giggled. "I don't believe it." Jacob curled his lips in embarrassment and decided to turn the question on her. "Miss Class President, you are so pretty, you must have had many boyfriends before." Kathy shook her head, and her hair swayed as she did. Her hair looked shinier under the streetlights. "I guess we're more alike than I thought," Jacob said, without thinking. "2 spicy hot pot dishes." The stand owner's wife brought the food to them. Jacob noticed that not only the stand owner's wife, but the guys eating nearby as well were sneakily looking at her. "Eat." Kathy looked at the food and handed a pair of chopsticks to Jacob. "Kathy, why didn't you go home this weekend?" Jacob asked her while he opened up the packet of chopsticks. "Because I wanted to watch you run," Kathy answered without thinking. She snickered at the surprised look on Jacob's face. Okay. I stayed to help the student council organize the sports event." "So inviting me to the meal was not in your original plan?" Jacob asked. "Let me think." Kathy lowered her head to take a bite of a meatball. "I planned only to watch you practice, but later I decided to reward you with a meal when I saw you practicing so hard." Jacob didn't care if she was telling the truth or not, since he was quite excited that Kathy had come over and watched him practice late at night. "The other day when Susan asked you to go to her office, what on earth happened there?" Kathy asked abruptly. "She saw me talking in class and took me to her office to give me a lecture," Jacob answered. Kathy didn't look satisfied with the answer, but she didn't argue. She asked him another question instead. "What about the schoolgirl who came to see you the other day, in the cafeteria?" "She is one of the girls I'm tutoring. She just came here to mess with me," Jacob answered promptly. He had a lot of time to prepare for these questions. He looked at Kathy. "You seem quite interested in me lately." "The things that have happened with you recently made it impossible for me not to notice them," Kathy retorted. With a grin, Jacob lowered his head and began to slurp down the noodles. He was genuinely hungry. "What Sam and the others told me last time was just a joke, wasn't it?" Kathy asked. "Huh?" Jacob raised his head, and his face had turned red because of the spicy food he had eaten. "They came over and told me that you liked me." Kathy bit her lip before forcing the words out. Her big eyes with long eyelashes looked exceptionally beautiful even in the shabby late-night meal stand. Jacob's face turned even redder. No, they were just kidding. Oh, it's not important. I felt they liked to joke around. Kathy smiled brightly, seeming indifferent to the whole incident. The seniors didn't cause you any trouble, did they? After a while, Kathy asked, abruptly. Why do you ask? Jacob was suddenly cautious. I heard from the student council that some troublesome senior male students had been displeased with your behavior in the past couple of weeks. They declared that they would teach you a lesson. Kathy stared at Jacob while she expressed her concern. Well, it's no big deal. Indifferently, Jacob went back to eating. I know some of them. Do you want me to clear up the misunderstandings? Kathy asked for Jacob's opinion. It's not a big deal. You don't have to trouble yourself with it. Jacob declined with a wave of his hand. He didn't think those guys would cause a lot of trouble for him. More importantly, he didn't want Kathy to go through any trouble. The air got cooler as Jacob and Kathy finished their meal and began heading back. Jacob accompanied Kathy to her dorm building. Do your best at the athletic games. Standing at the door, Kathy encouraged Jacob with a smile. Got it. Class president, have a good night. Jacob waved at her. For some weird reason, he preferred to call her class president instead of her name. He turned around to walk to his own dorm building, and a question occurred to him. Was this a date? If it had not been a date, how come he felt so much closer to her? It sure seemed like a date, thought Jacob. Or maybe it was Kathy's way of encouraging me to perform better during the race. Jacob shook his head to get rid of his wild speculations. Back in his dorm, he took a shower and went to bed. Early next morning, a Saturday, Jacob was woken up by the constant ringing on his cell phone. Jacob, what the heck? Sam was the first to wake up. He threw aside his quilt and dashed to the table before tossing the ringing mobile phone to Jacob, who was sleeping on the upper bunk. An unknown number flashed on the screen. Who is it? It's still early. Jacob answered the phone with a trace of displeasure. I'm Dracon. Our car is now in front of your dorm building. A steady voice came from the phone.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.